What is up everyone? Welcome to a long overdue video. I know it has been a long time since my previous upload. YouTube really burns me out, and as you've seen with my videos, they can be very long and in-depth, and it's quite difficult to maintain that level of performance without burning yourself out. So I had to take a long break and sort of get my thoughts together about what I want this channel to be, and that's not to say I haven't been doing anything. I have completely revamped my bench setup. We have new lighting, new camera equipment, new microphones, and we're going to cover all that off in a future video where I'll take you on a tour of all the new equipment and what I've invested into growing this channel and trying to make it my focus going forward. But in this video, I wanted to complete a sort of a project I started with the Sonos video, which was that overhead microscope camera setup looking down for SMD work. It becomes apparent that I'm going to be doing more of this in the future, so I may as well just embrace it and try and make things as easy as possible for myself. That first version I built was really good. It worked great, but it took up a massive portion of my bench, and I don't really want to give up that space permanently. I've had to redo things, and basically what I've decided is I'm going to use a heavy duty monitor arm, repurposed. We've 3D printed some brackets and things, and we're going to hopefully make a very flexible overhead microscope setup that will be probably some of the best image quality you have ever seen on YouTube. So I've chosen the Sony A7R Mark V and the 100mm macro lens from Sony that just came out. It's an incredibly versatile macro lens, and it is ideal for this sort of work, and that's going to be my platform going forward. I am not new to the macro sort of space. I have lots of experience in macro. I've got my GFX 100 macro here. Anyway, let's get started and hopefully get all this mounted on this setup, and hopefully give some people some inspiration on how to make their own setup if they want to ever try it themselves. Right, so before we start mounting everything, I thought I should probably just show everyone the equipment we're going to be using. So this is a Manfrotto 410 Junior, I think it is, geared head. These geared heads are just amazing. So basically all the axes of this can be changed by just turning dials, and it's got a gear system on 3 axes, and it's just so much better for things like macro because you can make minute adjustments on a very rigid platform, and it is just ideal for this. I actually have 2 of these things now because I love it so much, and I don't want to take the plates off all my cameras when I'm not filming. And we've got the 3D printed adapters, which we'll be using shortly to convert this to mount onto the monitor arm. And the idea is that we're just going to put a bolt through the middle with a washer to help distribute the load, and that's going to screw onto the base of this and adapt it to fit on the Visa mount for the monitor arm. Now we have the Sony A7R Mark V. I've got the quick release plate already sitting on this because I've already been doing some test fitting, and this is a Leo Photo metal cage which I've already added to the camera. It didn't become apparent to me when I started this, but the camera has to be rotated 180 degrees because if you're filming it this way, the preview you're looking at on the monitor and everything else is 180 degrees. If you were just editing in post, you could just flip it, but if you want to look at it in real time, you need to actually rotate the camera around so you're looking at it from the same perspective the camera is filming from. So that's why we have this cage. I had a look at small rig, and I wasn't very happy with that when I was doing it with the Canon camera that I had before, and I've decided to get the Leo Photo, and this is a much more rigid cage and it doesn't flex very much, so that is my choice going forward. I've also got the 24-70 Sony Mark II, which is a very good general purpose lens which I'll be using for general filming from time to time. I still use my iPhone a lot because it's just easier to edit and load it into my editing workflow, but we'll see what happens there. And the star of the show is this Sony 100mm macro. A lot of people wouldn't know much about this, but I can tell you that this is a groundbreaking macro lens. In regards to, it's a 100mm f2.8 macro with full stabilization, all the bells and whistles, very, very sharp optics. It has a auto and manual focus system, so you can just pull it to switch from manual to auto, which is fantastic. And the most groundbreaking feature on this is the capability to fit teleconverters out of the box. It is supported from the factory, no hacks or anything like that. So that takes this from a 100mm f2.8 to a 200mm 5.6, still have stabilization, still have autofocus, still have everything that you would normally get in the lens, and all you have to do is chuck a converter on it and it becomes a completely different beast. And then you go from a 1.4 times magnification to up to 2.8 times magnification, which is just unmatched. There are ways to hack other lenses to do this, but to have it supported out of the box is unbeatable, in my opinion. So that's what we're going to be using. I just thought I'd show everyone what we're dealing with. Let's try and mount all this up on the monitor arm, see if we can balance the weight on it and see what happens. Sorry, I almost forgot to talk about the lighting we're going to be using. So this is repurposed from the previous macro setup. Made some improvements here as well. So we've got two 60-watt lights to give two different lighting directions. May not need one of those fancy polarizers to try and get rid of glare. I don't know. We're going to sort of evolve this a little bit further, I think. But the idea is with this that I've decided on is I got one of these cheese plates. Apparently that's what they're called. And it's going to pick up off the bottom two Visa mount bolts. And I made the adapter a bit longer to suit that. And I got these new arms from Kef, I think, that should hold really well. Look at that. Because they got nice little rubber O-rings, and I've got locating holes under here. Whoops. So the idea is that they should lock into place and not swivel. That's the idea anyway. We'll see how that goes, but I had the previous... Oh, where is one? This is what I was using before. They were just sort of clamping onto things, but I found with temperature, they would start to pivot and move out of position, and it was really not ideal long term. These were actually quite good. They're nice and solid, but they just tend to creep with time, and I'm not going to do that again. But these seem to work really well. They're fixed in place, and I really like the idea of them being locked in position. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's get this mounted and see what happens. Right, so I'm not sure how well I'm going to be able to keep this in frame, but we will see how we go. This thing wants to just keep launching up into the air because there's no weight on it at the moment. Right, so I think I've got this where I want. It should be tensioned pretty well for the weight we're going to put on it. I've installed the cable guide on my A7R also, so it hopefully doesn't bend the ports or put too much side load on them. And the general idea is that we just bring this in, and when I want to connect the camera, I just do that, and it should be balanced pretty well. And the idea is that I should be able to move it down, should be able to move it up. There's definitely a little bit of vibration, but it's coming from the bench, and I may have to brace it against the wall a little bit, potentially, but this is the price to pay to be able to move this over while still having a very high-end camera system. So I'm just going to get all this hooked up to power, and we'll come back. Right, so I've got everything set up. I've just done all the cabling messy at the moment just to test this. You guys don't need to see that. We can do that off camera. So I thought I'd just give you a tour of what my intention is with this setup and how good the autofocus is and why I've chosen this. So, you know, I bring something into frame and it automatically gets focus. It's really impressive. Like, I can turn something sideways. It's not perfect every time, but it does a really good job of doing hands-off autofocus. And I am super, super impressed with it. I'll bring in a special guest that we're going to have in a future video. This is a Voodoo 2, a very cool graphics card from the 90s. But yeah, just testing out the lighting, seeing what I think of it. And I've got lighting for days. These lights are only running at 20% power each. And I'm already maxed out on quite a few things. So yeah, I don't need to turn it up much more than this. I probably don't even need these lights at all with how powerful this camera is. And the idea is that I can bring this like right down without too much work. I need to work on this arm though, because it tends to pivot quite easily. So I'll fix that later. But yeah, if I bring this down closer, I can get higher magnification without too much screwing around. Like, look at that. That's just absolutely nuts. And this is auto-focusing. I'm not controlling this. There have been a couple of instances where I just want to take over the focus. I mean, see here how it's just like it's locking onto that chip in the bottom left. So I can just pull the focusing up and take over and just lock it in manually. Look at that. And you can actually sort of do like a hybrid autofocus and help guide it. So I can put it back on auto, which is what it's doing now, and I can still just give it like a little tweak if I want to sort of kick it over into a different area. And it seems to do, you know, 80-90% of the time. It's fantastic autofocus system, and the detail is just... And I almost forgot, so you can also do this also if you need to look at some chips one-handed without having to mess with the focusing. And the camera, like I said, for the most part, it knows what to do. You don't really have to correct it too much. Not sure how much closer we can get. I think we're near maximum now. No, I think we've still got more. And that's about as much as I would honestly need. And I don't know what the Amazon Microscope cameras are. Like, they claim 100 times, 50 times magnification. I still reckon this is more powerful. Now, you will notice a little bit of wobbling. Now, if I turn off the optical image stabilization, there is definitely a bit of vibration. So that's with it off. And you can see, yeah, the mount definitely isn't as solid as I would like. There's definitely a bit of shake in it. I'll work on that because it's mounted to the back frame of my bench. It does have a lot of leverage to sort of wobble, and I reckon if I put a block of wood behind it against the concrete wall, it'll probably get rid of that. But if I turn on the stabilization, it actually does. It seems to be adaptive. It will sort of get a few little vibrations, but overall, it does a really, really good job of just getting rid of all the little shakes in there. Let me grab something else, another project that we're working on. Right, so I've got a board here out of the audio analyzer, new one that's coming into the shop, and we'll talk about that in a future video. We've got a leaky capacitor here, and I wanted to just have a quick look at that. Okay, this is maybe a little bit worse than I thought it was. And we can just tweak the focus a little bit because it's struggling with that capacitor because of how tall it is. Like I said, we can also do the pivoting sort of thing if we want to get a three-dimensional look at this. Oh yeah, that doesn't look good. So this is a electrolytic cap that's dumped its guts. And I thought it was just dust, but yeah, this does not look good. I'm gonna have to put this one through the ultrasonic cleaner for sure. But look at that detail. Like, you can see individual fibers, like a web. Yeah, this isn't gonna be a fun project, I don't think. Hopefully these components are okay. So yeah, we can just sort of back off and we can have a much more overview perspective and just look around on the board. And so it's a very versatile lens because it has the teleconverter on it, and you can remove that if you need to. Auto exposure is also excellent. It is adapting very quickly, and I'm not even really noticing it adjusting the shutter speeds or the depth of field. Sony are just the best when it comes to video, I think. I used to be a big Canon fanboy, but Canon just seemed to suck with video, to be honest. And wow, this is going to be a one hell of a repair, this board. Anyway, I think we're going to end this video here. I just wanted to show you this new camera setup and being able to just sort of push it out of the way, and it will sort of fold away over here when I don't need it anymore, and just clears up my bench. I don't have that stupid big metal plate here. It's just going to be a much better thing overall going into the future. So hope you enjoyed this video. We'll be back with some more projects soon. I've just got to finish up some loose ends on the bench, and I'll take you on a tour of everything, and we'll start some new projects. Anyway, until then, I will see you in the next video.